So hi, welcome to the Good Noise Podcast. I'm Shane,
I'm Glory.
and we're here with,
John.
And Andy from Point North.
and we're asking some questions there about the upcoming album, Prepare for Despair. So congrats on that, by the way. How do you feel about the response to the announcement so far?
Hell yeah. Thank you guys. John?
Yeah, it's been great. We've dropped a lot of music. I think like 3 songs in the span of 6 months or 5 months, whatever it's been, is pretty frequent for our band. I think after our last album, I think we went like a couple years without dropping an album or collection and just some singles here and there. So feels like we're back in full swing. Feels like we're finally putting COVID in the rearview mirror. We're looking forward to like dropping the big sophomore album where we've been working on it for a super long time. We've written dozens and dozens and dozens of songs, and we're super proud of it. And it's the most diligent we've been with the writing process thus far. And we're just really excited for everyone to hear it. That's where we're at.
Hell yeah. Well,
Hell
the
yeah.
album fucking rocks.
It's so fucking good.
Have you heard the whole thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
fire. So
Yeah.
I don't think we've sent it to anybody that isn't like a close friend or whatever. So it's nice to hear that someone that we haven't met yet has heard it. So please tell me that it's good.
Yes, it
It's
is
good,
very
yeah.
good. I mean, I've been streaming the shit out of the singles, but finally,
Yeah, it's
got to listen to the whole album, and I'm here for the heavy era.
So
Oh,
fun.
let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's
that's like the elephant in the room is like, hey, the sound is like kind of changing. And I think that's been the most validating thing about all of these releases is like our new sound is being accepted really well. And for John and I, it's like
Yeah.
we've just been fans of heavier music forever. So it's like almost like we get to really truly be ourselves now, which is like so weird to say at this point, but that just feels so
100%.
good. And I think, we love the heaviness, hopefully just as much as y'all do too.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Very,
Awesome.
very welcome.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Perfect.
We got to
That's-
care a little less on this album, we got to just like Andy said, be ourselves. No more preconceived notions of who's gonna like what. We're just having fun.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
fuck yeah.
does the heavy music come easier to you guys than like the pop punk stuff that you guys were doing previously?
They're like the same, I would say. Like
the
honestly,
same.
like that's like my split personality is like Killswitch Engage and Blink-182. So like both are just
Yeah.
like I feel like just in our blood.
Mhm.
So it's like it's same but different.
Okay. Makes
Okay.
sense.
Yeah. I think it's a little more exciting now. Like we're reaching into this like new bag of tricks
Mm.
instead of an old bag of tricks. And there's a lot to discover in this kind of new vibe that we write in. It's a little less formulaic and a little more progressive in some of the structure and like the how the songs get kind of pieced together. And it's really when it comes down to like the heaviness or the riffs or whatever, there's a lot of feel involved in the music aspect of it that wasn't as much of a concern previously, where it was very like melodic aspects
Mhm.
as opposed to just groovy feel, heavy, stank face moments. And that's kind of like how it's different, but we love them both the same. So
All
For
right.
sure. And what was it about this album that made you guys want to, shift it to a different genre?
the touring. Andy, you want to take that? I
Yeah.
would say
For
touring.
sure. No, I mean, I was looking for the right answer, but I think that's kind of it. It really is touring. I think when you first of all tour with heavier bands, which I think we've been fortunate to do with like A Day to Remember and Asking Alexandria and some of these just legends in the scene.
Sirens.
Yeah, and Sleeping with Sirens, who we've done, multiple tours with now. You always see what translates and you see what's just fun to play. And I think, we really were kind of geared towards, okay, well, we know we're going to play these songs live. And what does that feel like? What's the most kind of moment to create sonically in that world? And the answer is usually always heavier.
Wow.
More energetic. I think I mean, it's a matter of like, because we have certain songs that are older that work live that work better than others. And I think, heavier is one way to get energy, and other ways can be just more up tempo. But I do think there is like a collective respect from fans of heavy music when they hear a heavy part live that just feels really good. And it's super fun. But just high energy is is
Yeah,
what it's
well,
all about.
your
Yeah.
touring is definitely what I noticed. Like becoming a fan and all that. Like I've seen you guys every single time I've seen you guys open for someone. You have been opening for a heavier band. I saw you guys open for Sleeping with Sirens twice. A Day
Mhm.
a Day
Oh,
to
nice.
Remember once. So it's like it's always been a heavier band, and you know it feels like it was always kind
Yeah.
of the same core songs in your set list that, like, you know, obviously we get the fans hype, but with this record it feels like you guys could go play any of those and it would translate to those people. And it kind of sounds like that was the goal with this record.
Oh yeah, I'm so sick of the songs we've been playing. We've been playing them for freaking 3 or 4 years now. I'm so ready for a new set list and to just get heavier on stage. It's so much more fun, huh, dude?
Yeah, definitely.
I-
And just again to have that translate well is like such a breath of fresh air because I think we're always, we're always concerned. We love our fans so much and we never want to like disappoint the ones that we've earned by any means with like being somebody that's not us or that's not true or that's not authentic, like regardless of, where we're at in the stage of our careers. So I think this release just like was the accumulation of like kind of just going back to sort of our roots because John and I were in a band previous to Point North where I was a screamer, John was actually the drummer and singer, and it was like a hardcore band. And we were playing garage shows packed with 50 people because the first location got shut down by the cops. And so we were always like around the sort of DIY, like heavy music world. And when we started to have like a bigger platform for our music, like we still had the tendencies to want to perform that music too. And now we feel like we are. And it's like, it's so cool
Yeah.
for us because this is 10 years, almost after that band. And it's like, feels like this is the next chapter of that. And the, the heavy music story of me and John together. So it's really kind of full circle at this point.
Right. It's like
Ah.
the means kind of justified a new end for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's super fun to be able to kind of be at this point now. And honestly, it just feels like we can do whatever we want. And I think what we want to do is be heavier. And we're just like, but then it still works. It's still Point North. So I think it's just it's half of whatever we want, half of it took this entire journey up until now to kind of like develop everyone's strengths and styles into what it is today. And now when we do what we want and we get heavier, it's still identifiable, I guess. So
That makes sense.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
that's awesome.
yeah.
So is there any meaning behind the album title or cover art?
Andy, you can take that one.
The title it's so crazy.
Andy thought of the name.
I thought of the name of the title and I think I forgot where I came across it. And I think we've always loved just like kind of short anecdotal, phrases that just kind of paint a different meaning in so many different ways. Like we wanted to kind of leave that open when we titled this specific record, and that sort of fit. And it just always like felt good and sounded good. And it's like now it's like it's become this like cool identity for us of like like what's up from the end of the world, like here we are, everything's on fire, but this is what's going on. Which I think has felt really cool for us too. And that sort of came after the title, which is I feel like it's usually the other way around. So I think that's it in terms of the title. And the art, of course, is always done by John's cousin Emily, who's been with us since the beginning. And every time we're asked about it, it's just like another opportunity for us to just like gush about how amazing she is and just like how like a member of the band and the vision and the art she is. So it's like we wanted to do something a little bit different than like our typical like really anime based ideas before, but still have it like represent our theme and our brand and be a part of what we're consistent with.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And we wanted something for where like the way it turned out, because first of all, like it was heavily inspired by the Dookie cover. I think that was like Andy's like big thought. I don't know if you just said that, but and it like on this like apocalyptic, just huge whatever vibe. But so we threw in like the spaceship vibe, and it's like we have this kind of like theme going of like our alien dude, and he's actually in there somewhere. And I thought it'd be really cool to have something so busy where like a fan can like just stare at it and find a new thing like every 5 minutes or something. So like my dogs are in there, Drax is in there, Peter's dogs are in there, there's just like all kinds of like little fun little Easter eggs that are hidden away, and it's just cool. It's just like we love like that retro color scheme, and yeah, we just really wanted to make it like a lot's going on, because that's what the album kind of just like talks about, is like everything that goes on. It's like the hecticness of how someone's mind works and with the state of the world, and it's just art, and it's just such a sign of the times. So yeah, I'm just stoked for kids to just stare at it while they just sit in class and, you know what I mean, find a bunch of cool stuff.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome.
So can you tell us a little bit about your writing process for this album?
Yeah. I can start. What was the first? I guess like the first thing we did, the earliest songs are the Tahoe songs, Trude.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Andy and I like went and got a cabin in Lake Tahoe for like, how many days was that?
I think we did it for nine days.
Was it 9 days? I thought I was gonna say that, but it sounded long.
We booked it for 9 and stayed 7 because like the gnarliest storm of all time was on its way, and it was like, you're either going to be here for 7 days or you're going to be here for like 17 days. So like make your choice.
Yeah, it was gnarly.
Yeah, so
we got out of there quick.
Yeah, it was the whole thing. We saw a ghost, the power shut off, storm was coming, and we got out of there. But before we did, we wrote, I think, 3 songs on this record.
The opener, the first song, we wrote Your Wish Is My Command there, Like a Weapon there. I'm missing one, aren't I? I feel like there's one more, but I could be tripping.
I thought it was
yeah, whatever. There's one coming out with a DJ that's not on the album that we wrote there, but that's for future. But we do that a lot with DJs. No, and then you know, one of the songs I wrote just over Zoom with my friend Rajiv, who's in Nashville, who's like an awesome songwriter, like super cool guy. Andy, you gotta like meet that dude. He's the shit. And a couple of them, my studio had flooded at some point last year, a little over a year ago, and I was using my roommate's studio, who doesn't live here anymore, and I wrote Below the Belt, and what else did I do in there? It was Below the Belt, and there's one more that, whatever, there's 2 of them were in there, just some random like one-offs in his studio. And then so let's fast forward. So we get to the end of the album, we have these like songs like written for the most part or whatever. And the song and the album was going to be like 4 new songs or some shit. Like there was going to be Erase You on it, Stitch Me Up, and I think those are all we cut or something like that. We basically like kept writing new ones because everyone on the label side of things was trying to like drop all these songs leading up to it, and then by the time the album comes out, there's like 3 new songs or something, which like we hate as like fans of music and creators of music. So we wrote 2 more before, like a week before we had to turn the album in. I went over to Andy's place, and the album was set to come out, and it had Erase You on it, and it had Stitch Me Up on it. And Andy was like, dude, like those songs are like almost 2-3 years old. Like, why are these on the album? They don't fit. And so we called Peter, our manager, and we were like, dude, we're going to write 2 more. Like, find the money, like to go back to Kyle for like 2 more songs. And what did we do? Like, was I out of town, Andy? Like, I like tracked him, did everything, and then sent it to Kyle. Stage went to Kyle's on his own time, and I think I was out of town or something. It was like this super last minute thing.
We were set to leave for Atreyu. It's this stuff always happens before we have to leave for a tour. So we're like battling this like incredible obligation on like the recording side of things, and also the incredible obligation of having to leave for like 5 weeks.
So wait,
it's always around touring.
Back up really quick. So this was like a couple months ago, Atreyu tour?
Yeah.
So this was down to the wire.
To the wire.
The wire. Like, and it's so like us to do shit like that, but it always is sick because we're a band that's just kind of forged in fire like that. Every time there's like some crazy high stress situation, like we crush it. Like we just thrive in pressure. So like, yeah, the last two songs we ended up writing were the title track called Prepare for Despair and one called Up on a Hill, which is like one of my favorite ones on the album. And so those two replaced Erased You and Stitch Me Up just so we could have like more new songs for everybody to hear on the album. And then we had an interview a while ago talking about the album, and Andy said it really well, where they asked what the writing process was, and he said that the formula is kind of no formula, where it is just kind of like whatever is sick that day or in that moment is kind of like what the idea is, and it starts from there. And then sometimes it's a melody, a riff, a piano progression, an idea, a tempo, a groove. It's like whatever feeling we're chasing is like kind of what gets fleshed out. And so now I feel like Andy and I are kind of like, because we're already 11 demos into the next album, and I think that it's we figured it out. I think,
Okay, good.
I think writing this new album and then going to Kyle and getting all the outside critiques and everything, and going through the process for over a year, and really like fine-tuned us as writers and knowing what the right decisions are. I guess I shouldn't say right, I should say better decisions. And yeah, and so now we're just like in a spot where we're just like pumping them out, and those last two were able to be pumped out so quick because we had come such a long way with the writing process, and we were in that position where I think that those last two songs, at least me, Andy, like, are in the same vein or writing level as all these new ones we're doing, where we were kind of just like locked in, and we kind of just knew what it was,
Mhm.
Yeah, I think Prepare for
So
Despair, the title track, is arguably one of my favorites from the record too. And that was the second to last one that we did just like 2 months ago. So
yeah,
it
and
was
also,
crazy hearing you talk about how hectic the whole process was, from like Tahoe to your studio flooding to like
yeah,
right before Atreyu. And like we were just talking about the hecticness and the chaoticness of the music itself. Like
Mhm.
the writing process kind of fit that bill for this.
Yeah.
And it took us,
totally,
we've never spent like almost 2 years on a record before, and this was like 2 years of post COVID into our own crazy life things. John gets married, like all of this stuff. So it's just
yeah,
been a chaotic couple of years,
Mhm.
and everything about this release kind of says that.
Yeah.
totally,
Absolutely.
and just one last thing, like before those last two songs, we had the same exact thing with like one more song, right? Remember?
Hmm.
It was like the album was done, and we were like, dude, let's make it 11. And so we wrote
Jesus
Someone You
Christ.
Don't Know. And Someone You Don't Know was the throwaway last song idea. And it was weird because that was the song where we were like, fuck it, let's get weird with it. And that's why that pre-chorus goes to that like whatever. Andy's the theory guy, whatever, the parallel major or whatever. And to me, I just play it, and I was like, that sounds dope. Sound like Incubus to me or something.
Mhm.
And I loved it, so I put in like the record scratches and everything. And then Nick, the guy who mixes the album, was just like, dude, like I can't believe this was a throwaway song. This is like one of my favorites. And I'm just like, all right, cool. It was like another song forged in fire. So then we did it again for two more songs after that. So we should just keep doing that.
Yeah.
Wait until the last minute.
God. So with those two final songs, did that stress you out like just the tiniest bit at all, or was that just
Fuck
easy?
yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was, I mean, like I said, like that stress is good though. That stress, like it turns like the coal into diamond, It's like it is necessary. I like to say like we finished the album, which was a huge piece of bandwidth on I think me and Andy's mind for like over a year, right? It's just sitting there. Got the label barking at us and everything. We need new music, and we got to be this like band
Mhm.
and stay focused and finish this. We got to be finishers.
Yeah.
And then I had like the wedding, which was in March, and that was like a huge thing because I was working my ass off at the studio because I was paying for the wedding, and like it was a huge piece of bandwidth also. And then they both kind of like ended at the same time. We like finished the album like right before the wedding.
Oh, shit.
And then all of a sudden I went from like all this shit to like
Mhm.
nothing to stress about, really.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, I kind of need something to stress about. And then I was
Yeah.
like, damn, I guess that's just kind of like where I work best. So so yeah, maybe it's like of my own doing or subconscious that it's always last minute or something, and I kind of like throw myself into a fire. I'll
Mhm.
talk to my therapist about it later, but I don't know.
And Andy, do you work well under pressure, under that stress, or is that just Jon?
I think I do. I think we're all
You don't
just
have a choice.
True.
it's like we never kind of did. Like I said, we've always been just like DUI band guys forever.
Not DUI.
I was gonna
DIY.
say
DIY.
DIY. Yeah. I
We've
was like, oh.
never been DUI band guys.
We've never been that.
Good.
I
Let's
think we
keep it
all
that
got
way.
clean. We got
God
clean
bless.
records, baby.
Good.
We have been DIY band guys forever. So I think we're just so used to like all the pressure, all the stress, all the weight, all the responsibilities, all everything.
Mhm.
And like now we have such a wonderful team that really makes it so easy for us that we just could not function without. So this is really the only stuff that we kind of have to stress about now is just the music. And creative stuff can be super stressful. We've all
Totally.
gone through our humps of like writer's block and just like not being proud and getting demolitis and I think it's good to have the pressure because you don't really have the luxury of that sometimes when it's like this is how it is, this is what it's going to be, give it your best shot and like make it work. And that sort of attitude has just like kind of gotten us here.
That's so much better, dude, to me. It's so much better to like have an idea and be like, this is what it's gonna be, make it sick, as opposed to sitting on like a demo for 10 months, getting bored of it. It never comes out.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, just make it and be stoked on it and then just turn it in. And just like, I feel like that's also something is like, yeah, you do sit with demos. He's right. You do get demoitis. You do get bored of things. You don't like it anymore. But no one's ever heard it. Like people, producers have told me, it's like, I wonder how many number ones are sitting on people's hard drives right now.
Yeah.
Because of that exact reason.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, not me, dude. We do everything last minute.
Fucking putting it out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. So how did the track list for this album come about? Did you guys write the opener to be the opener, closer to be the closer? Did you shuffle around and see what fits? What was that process like?
Good
Great
question. Go for it. Go for it, Jude.
We do like half and half. I think when we were writing the song that became the opener, we knew when we were writing it that it was going to be a great opening track. So I think it sort of like found that identity, and then somewhere in that writing process, we locked into that specific thing and then completed the thought, and then it ended up being the opener. And I think you sort of had vibes with like, to me, it's almost like opener and closer. And then I feel like we kind of just fill in the middle with just taking different shots at it. And then there's like sort of like an algorithm you kind of pay attention to with like where singles should go. And now with attention spans, like what are the first 5 songs you want to give someone to try and make the biggest impact on a record?
Totally.
And I think that sort of stuff, comes into play a little bit too. So we try and be strategic with like really, the necessities of what's the first thing they hear when they press play and what's the last feeling you want to leave them with. And then what kind of journey do you want to take them on in between? And then we kind of just like arrange it. We all take different shots at it. Usually I'm the one that kind of gets the final say.
Okay.
And
it's the thing I care least about.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I get the scrap.
Yeah,
like
gotta give Andy something, make him feel like he's really part of the band,
And then everyone kind of gives it like their like drive down Mulholland with the windows down, like car test to see if it flows. And then we all kind of sign off on it, and there it is.
Yeah, there's definitely a thought to the middle. I think it's like it is the opener and the closer being the big ones. It's the where does the energy come down? How do we pick it back up with what song? It's just like a live set. You know what I mean? It's like, how do you keep someone engaged the whole time? But obviously, like, you want the deep cuts to be deep cuts and you want singles to be closer to the front. So totally agree.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I'm stoked how it turned out.
And I can appreciate that. Like, obviously, you guys have to keep all of the no attention span and TikTok bullshit and singles placing them, but also being able to create an album that is a cohesive listen and like actually give a fuck about that, and not just like place the singles where they have to be and fuck off with the rest of it, you know?
Yeah.
True. Yeah. And I guess that's maybe a thing that other artists are doing now because it is so single driven. I feel like most albums now are like compilations of singles, which is like great. I mean, you have 12 bangers on your record. Congratulations. I think we all just like loved albums so much that we still care about like the person who's putting on that vinyl and flipping sides or who's like listening to different albums throughout their day. Like we still care
Totally.
about
That's still a big listener out there, in my opinion. Like the people that do get the vinyls, that just like let an album play through on a long drive or whatever, or commute. And that's what we grew up on. And so we're kind of trying to do both worlds of like making sure we're being smart about singles. At the end of the day, we want to make sure that we're doing what's best for like the band and like the success of the album, but also being integral with like our art and making it something that means something to us and that's well thought out. There's every little piece is thought out. There's nothing that was a throwaway. So yeah, I think it's a big deal. Some of our favorite albums were like punk albums, front to back, American Idiot, and stuff like that. And I think this one like flows super well for how it is. So, what did you guys think of the flow? Let me flip the interview. How did you guys? Did it go through good?
I thought it was very cohesive.
Yeah.
The opener immediately hooked me, and then just from that, it was just easy listening. I loved it.
Yeah,
nice.
And I thought it flowed pretty well, and I know we talk a lot about how like you want to place the singles at the front half because deep cuts have to be deep cuts, but you guys have a lot of singles on the back half of the record. I mean, the last 3 songs, right? I think the last 3 are all singles.
Yeah, totally. So. Well, that was what was a great flex is that. The only ones we had left were just old singles, So we're like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, right on. I'm glad to hear that.
So where was your headspace at while you guys were writing this album?
I think we touched on it. Hectic, so much going on.
Yeah.
It was balancing our personal lives and what we do for work and the touring. And we had other Kyle, another producer, that we went to his studio. So I wasn't at my studio at my house where I could like walk in and say hi to my wife or whatever. I was gone for freaking 12 hours at a time every day and stuff, which is like that's studio life. That's just like what it is. And so luckily she's pretty familiar with that. Yeah, it's a lot of pressure. There was a lot of pressure. We were trying to live up to this huge sophomore release hype. You look at like all your favorite bands and their sophomore album is like, oh, that's the freaking album, or their third album or whatever. But we wanted to make noise and we wanted to make it really, really strong, which is why we brought in like outside help. And I'll be like, help's an understatement. Kyle like produced it with me. Yeah, I mean, it was driven. It was nose to the grindstone. It was chin down and like work through it and do the brain numbing hours of tracking and making these decisions but having the carelessness to like and the ego death to like throw away parts we spent a lot of time on to make for a better part, and which is a must in music, but that's something that's exhausting for sure. And we just wanted to make the best album we could possibly make in that moment, and I think that's what we did. So it took a lot of hard work. We're very Mamba mentality dudes. They got the shirt on, and we were just trying to get better every day. And so it's all recorded and captured and printed on an awesome, colorful vinyl for everybody to hear our suffering.
Oh yeah.
And where can you get that vinyl?
Yeah, do a plug.
Great question. Andy, full sentence.
You can get our vinyl, all of our music, and all of our merch exclusively at pointnorth.com. Pointnorthband.com. Fuck, I don't even remember our own
shit.
What is it?
Let's good thing I'm on the computer here. Let me pop that open real fast.
All right, let's see.
Point North Band. I'm pretty sure it's pointnorthband.com, bro.
I think it is. I believe it is.
It is. Pointnorthband.com. Oh, look at us, dude. You can get tickets to tour dates, you can get merchandise, vinyls, pre-order the album. Anything that is and ever was and ever will be Point North, you will find at pointnorthband.com.
Fuck yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So how do you guys recommend your fans to listen to this album for the first time? Should they play in the car with friends, dark with headphones on? Should they blast at a party, work out to it? What do you guys personally recommend?
What's your curated vibe, John?
My curated vibe. Um, I feel like the cliche that every artist that releases an album is just like, I want you to sit and do nothing and turn your phone off and listen to this front to back and just ingest every. It's like, no, because that's just not realistic. Um, I think it's I think if you're a fan, if you're like a genuine fan of Point North and you want to experience the album, like it's always better with friends, just like the live shows are always better with friends.
Mhm.
Yeah, I loved what you said. Like hop in the car and like go get some freaking like tacos and food and just sit in the whip and just eat and listen to the album for 45 minutes or whatever it is. That sounds like a huge vibe. Um, and then yeah, I think the workout thing is legit. You know, it's heavy, it's energetic. People love to work out to our stuff. We get tagged in workout videos every day. Um, but yeah, I can generally see like that's what I would do. I guess I'm just speaking like from my own experience. When one of my favorite bands would drop an album that I'm like dying to listen to, it's like AirPods aren't going to do it justice. Playing it on my phone is almost insulting. I'll go like sit in the whip and like front to back it, or at least get as far as I can through it on my way somewhere. Because it's the car test. It's always the car test, right? I mean,
Of course, yeah.
that's my favorite way to listen to albums.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
You know, what about you, Andy?
I don't know. It's kind of like it's like an end of summer release. I feel like people are maybe going on like their last trips and stuff for the year before like reality sets in.
Yeah.
So
Cooler
maybe just
weather.
like yeah, maybe just a late summer night. You're sitting in your backyard, you got the string lights out, fire pit going, and
Setting the whole vibe.
Right, it's beautiful.
somebody breaks out the JBL and you just just front to back it and while the sun sets and probably barbecue something up.
Okay.
I see John making his famous chicken that he always cooks up for us, and he probably won't be there for the listeners, but
He doesn't
Just
come with the
imagine
vinyl,
the taste
guys.
of
No.
imagine the taste of chicken in your mouth as you listen to this album. All I
actually no,
do is
I
like
want someone
mix
to
three barbecue sauces.
I want it to be as impactful as possible. So like if someone's going through a breakup or like seasonal depression, listen to our music.
Hell yeah.
Fuck
Alright.
yeah.
So this question should be super, super quick. Off the top of your head, I want you to describe this album for new listeners in 3 words. No more, no less. Both you have to do it. 3 words each. 6 total.
Okay. Me first?
I'm my
Uh,
wheels are turning.
all right. No, if it's 3 words and I'm just going like the first one's coming to mind, it's energetic, meaningful, and fun.
Fuck yeah.
Hell yeah.
Mine's prepare for despair.
You can't use that.
That is
You
the
can't
album
use that.
title.
That's already used.
That's established.
Yeah.
Wasn't that the only acceptable answer though? Like
Nah.
Now he's
Come
gonna
on.
fight it. Do we have to
Come
let
on.
him, Glory? He's fighting it.
No.
I mean, if I'm looking at just adjectives, it's chaotic
Mhm.
and impactful
Okay.
and
Lovely.
authentic.
I love it.
Hell yeah.
There you go.
There you go. See that was a lot
that
better.
was so much better than that cop out ass answer.
That's what I'm saying. Like, come on.
I thought that was so clever and so slick. I played it back in my head.
That's what you
and
get for
then
thinking.
I just got that gallery response. So that's my bad.
You gave a beautiful follow up, so you redeemed yourself.
Absolutely.
Exactly. All good. So are you guys able to touch on any particularly challenging or standout moments from the creation of this album, positive or negative?
Yeah. So I think John made a really good point about going somewhere to do it. Which was like the most different thing for us because we have recorded with Jon as our producer. So it's always been either in Jon's bedroom or in Jon's bedroom studio or eventually Jon's outside studio. But it's always been with Jon at Jon's house, me and Jon. So that becomes like I can just like play Call of Duty or like take naps or like, just like not be as present because we're just like hanging at Jon's house.
Yeah.
And this really took all of that out of it where it's like, okay, we're going to a studio. We have to like put on our work hat and like go to a place and get the most out of that time as possible, which was just, I think, something that we grew out of being so used to just like doing it ourselves and at our like in our comfort zone too, which was just so good for this to just be present and be focused and be in a space that's just for creativity and know that you just got to like make the best of it at all times. Uh,
I'm so
not that
glad you had that growth, dude.
yeah, not that I didn't nap. That's still a huge part of our formula.
Yeah.
No, because it was everything before this album, and then I'd be working, and then I'd turn around and you are like napping or playing Call of Duty. I'm like, man, one of these days he's gonna learn, and then we go to Kyle's, and then you learned, and now
I still napped.
sessions.
I learned, but I still nap.
Still got a little napping.
Gotta
Good.
gotta keep the brain juices flowing. You gotta let them nap. It's just part of this
Exactly.
Honestly,
process.
like
Exactly.
music is just so therapeutic and so peaceful for me. Like if I'm no longer involved in the process and it's like John doing vocals or something, like it's gonna lull me to sleep. That's just how it goes. Even
You're
it's like
also
drum tracking.
you're borderline narcoleptic though, like a little bit.
Well, that's debatable. But yeah, so there still was that, but I think going to some place that was new for us and just inspiring and like the creative like circle kind
Yeah.
of brought the best out of us.
Yeah, it was cool. And that was the biggest learning experience. But I think all for the better. I don't know if there's like I'm trying to think of one on the other side of the spectrum that was like impactful in like a negative way, which I don't think so. Like I think the whole process of the album is all moments of growth, whether it looks like um, you know, negative in the moment or not. Um, and I think we seized every opportunity, whether it like hurt or didn't hurt, um, to make better art. And yeah, I can't really think of. I think there were challenges, and there were moments where you're like, "Is this good? Like, why are we like doing this and working so hard? Like, what's this even worth?" And then you have moments where you're able to step back and reflect on you're making something incredible and awesome. You kind of get numb to it as you work on the same loop for freaking 6 hours. Um, and so it's great. It's a great experience as people, just as like humans, learning the patience, learning how to like overcome moments like that, learning how to overcome the self-doubt and the imposter syndrome, and which is very, 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 very real. Like even in my day-to-day producing for other artists, and I could have all of these things in front of me, and I'm just like, maybe it's all hype. Maybe it's not that good, and it's really challenging. And I think that's the hardest part about being an artist is because you're your own worst critic at the end of the day. And there's a really big lesson of like self-love and self-acceptance in making this kind of stuff too. So it goes so far beyond just like making music and writing the right riff. There's so much growth that can happen, and I think that's like the best. I think that's why people make art. It's like it's to get something inside of them out. It's to challenge themselves, and then it makes you hate yourself, and then you love yourself, and then at the end of that all, at the end of all of that, you can sit back and be really proud of what you did. Then you won. So I think that's it was just a huge year of growth for us as people and as a band. So I can't think of a negative thing.
Oh yeah,
that's good.
I'd love to hear that.
Yeah.
So for this question, we want you to picture you're on tour, you're at a gas station for a rest stop. What is your snack of choice?
Oh man, I mean it's gonna be Twix for me. That's I can't think of anything. I switch it up. Like I will get so many different things, but there's always a Twix in there for sure.
There's a Twix, yeah. It depends. Like I'm so hot or cold when it comes to health. So it's like if I'm having a healthier tour, it'll be like what are the like little like blue can of almonds? I forget the company.
Blue Diamond.
Yeah, Blue Diamond, like the wasabi almonds or like any kind of like nuts like that is like I'm like boom, like good healthy snack. If I'm like being a piece of shit, I'll grab like salsa verde Doritos for sure. And if I have a sweet tooth, it's a Milky Way for me. But yeah, usually it's something like a little better. I tried like I try not to eat a lot of red meat. My wife and I don't, except we'll break it some occasions. But they have like the plant-based jerky that just smells and tastes like cat food.
It's not good.
Try doing that. It's garbage.
Yeah. I'm vegan, so I've never had real jerky, but the only time that the Beyond jerky tasted good is when my partner bought it and then I ate it because I didn't pay for it. Other than that, it's really not that good.
That'll do it. Yeah.
That's an honest answer.
Yeah.
An honest answer, and that's very appreciated here at Point North. No, and then I get tripped out on hydration just as a vocalist too. So I'll chug in water, but I'll go in there and buy like my Vita Cocos. Those are like my favorite. Like if I feel dehydrated or anything like that, I'll just chug 2 of those things. And the pineapple flavor is my favorite, so that's my bevy of choice.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
So on the topic of food, if the band was a dish, what dish would the band be and why?
Are we talking sides included or just like a main protein situation?
Never had that question. Go for the sides. Yeah, that
All
as
right,
well.
Go for the sides also.
Yeah.
That's such a great...
I got it.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Can I go first?
Sure.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna go with like a nice like barbecue plate. Andy is for sure the baked beans. I am the coleslaw.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not.
Oh, fuck.
Wait. Well, now I'm just saying like I'm the only one that likes coleslaw. Everyone else talks shit on it. So you know what? I will be the coleslaw.
Okay.
You say it's wet lettuce.
I'm
It
not
is?
gonna be the coleslaw, so that's for sure. I'm not going to be your wet cabbage. Sorry.
Ugh, it's just
yeah.
nasty.
And then like I'll just say that. We'll leave it at that. We'll say, and then I guess sage would be some type of like meat.
Mm-hmm.
But
salmon. These are
salmon.
Like easy fucking answers.
Yeah. Well,
Sage will order salmon for lunch and also for dinner.
I mean, salmon's just that good. I get it.
He'll order like Olive Garden salmon, and then he'll get like the salmon at like somewhere. Like he'll get salmon when the salmon's not good. And, like he'll it's just for the sake of eating salmon.
Olive Garden isn't known for their fish, is the thing. So that's a little concerning.
No, it is. Yeah, but I don't know. We have this like tradition on tour. We go to this place near Dallas. Like it's called what's called Trudy. It's the zoo place, the barbecue place, not Dallas.
Do
you know what I'm talking about? The zoo barbecue place we go to.
Oh, Cattleman's
Ranch.
Yeah.
And it's like a barbecue place. We try to go there every time we pass through, and it's like a giant zoo. They have like 1,000 bunnies, an ostrich. They have mules. They have freaking bison. They have horses, rattlesnakes. And you go there, and it's like this like awesome steakhouse. And you go see the animals, and then we go home or we go to the next show. But there's some. I guess it always feels like a common cuisine is barbecue.
Barbecue.
Oh yeah.
That's my answer. I don't know. You go, Andy.
My answer is we are for sure like a Las Vegas buffet.
Ooh.
Gross.
If we're like a nice one. What do you mean gross? Like a nice one.
He looks offended.
Like exactly.
A good one. Fancy buffet is like an oxymoron, dude. I've never been to a fancy buffet.
They exist.
They for sure exist.
Yeah.
And they exist in Las Vegas, one of our favorite places on this earth.
I ain't been there.
And but like if we're getting like plate specific, you're getting like I want to like tie this into our music. You're getting like traditional good things, right? Like you'll get a slice of pizza because they're not going to fuck up pizza.
Yeah.
And then you'll try like their protein if it's like a prime rib or like a brisket that they're slicing or like the hand carved turkey or something. Like there's something like that's good comfort protein.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll get a little crazy. Like you might get like an egg roll or like an empanada or like fettuccine Alfredo. Like you're gonna have something that's a little fun, and then you're just gonna go crazy on the desserts.
Yeah.
And probably have one of everything. And that is point.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's fucking beautiful.
And then you're gonna wake up with the worst stomach pains and digestive issues.
True.
Because we're 30.
Also point north.
Also
Fuck yeah.
And for
Okay.
the last couple questions, we're going to shift completely away from music and go straight to death row.
Boom.
So if you're on death row, what would your last meal be with a drink?
Straight to death row. That's how it always is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mine's probably going to be a fillet mignon with mashed potatoes, and actually probably a baked potato.
Mhm.
Yeah, so a filet medium with a baked potato and some mac and cheese, and probably like the biggest slice of chocolate cake and Haagen-Dazs vanilla ice cream.
Oh.
And my drink is probably going to say goodbye with a root beer.
Oh,
Nice.
damn. That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah, like
Mhm.
an IBC root beer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, fire. I'm going full on like lobster tail, oysters, shrimp scampi, linguine, like angel hair shrimp scampi, and like a really nice like bottle of wine or something. Like just a Sauv Blanc, not like a Pinot or anything. And honestly, yeah, or like it's anything seafood or lobster or shrimp or shellfish based. It's like my favorite food in the world. So
You're
if I
like
have like a if I
just
have like a bucket of clams and like yeah, like a squid ink pasta with like freaking Argentinian red shrimp in there or something crazy, a lobster roll, maybe like a tray of like half oysters, but like not Fanny Bay oysters. I'm talking like upper Pacific Northwest oysters, like a little
Damn.
smaller, a little less briny.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, in that instance, I would probably have like a growler of a really nice light citrusy hazy IPA, whether that be I don't know what that would be. That's a tough one.
Mm-hmm.
It would depend on the season. If it was like summertime death row versus like cold and wintry death row, then it's like a scotch. We'd have to I don't know.
The man said cast me out to sea and then take me to the promised land.
Yeah, dude.
love it.
Honestly,
For real.
I love
you
it.
can just dunk me in the ocean and the fish can eat me, and then it's like a boom circle of life.
Damn. All right. Fuck. Okay. Okay. So if you could live in one fictional world for a week, where would you live?
Probably Super Mario World.
Oh,
That's
pretty cool.
tight. Damn,
Yeah.
dude. Turtles
That's
just
like-
kill you.
It's like my first thought was like Gotham City, but I'm like that sounds so depressing. So
Oh my
not
God.
Gotham City.
No.
So yeah, probably Super Mario World seems a lot more happy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Dude, I'd probably do like freaking
Star Wars.
Oh, damn. You're right.
Yeah.
I was gonna say like Avatar and like live on Pandora type beat. And like be a Pandora person. A Navi, just because I love the idea of living naturally and being one with nature and like not having like the stresses of like technology and finances and just going and like finding my own food and stuff, and that's like your day. Sounds very nice. But I do wish I could push shit with my mind, so Star Wars would also be dope.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I didn't say you were a Jedi. You were just in the fictional world. You were probably
I'm like
You're
I'm like
the
Sebulba.
Yeah. Cantina. Damn.
I'm like Watto, the blue fool that flies around. Annie. Right,
So I have the honor of asking the last question. Every single person that we've spoken to have said that it is the most important question. What's your favorite color?
perps all day.
Yeah. I feel like mine's also perps, but I feel like I can't let that be a thing.
That's okay. Honestly, like that's not perps is not my color. I'm not the only one that's allowed to have it. It's just the best color on the spectrum. Like
I know I love blue and I love red, and put that shit together. It's like fucking.
It's beautiful.
It's like butter and garlic. It's
Yeah.
like, that's fire.
That's beautiful. That's a beautiful way to put it.
All right. So as I said, that's all the questions you have today. Is there anything that you guys would like to plug?
Yeah. Follow us on any kind of social media outlet. We're on Instagram, we're on TikTok, we're on Facebook, unfortunately, at Point North Band across the whole spectrum. And Prepare for Despair out August 18th, album 2. download it, stream it anywhere, buy merch, and pre-order stuff, and you're good to go.
Oh
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Can you just
Check
export that mix and throw it in Dropbox? Thanks.
Jordan, everyone.
Jordan, my assistant.
Oh yeah. All right. Well, thank you for silence, guys. It's been John and Andy from Point North, and we have been the Good Noise Podcast.